gentle restorative class, which means we're going to do some restorative yoga and some that's a little more on the gentle side, but all delightful and relaxing. So I have some throw pillows, I've got some blankets, and I have a yoga bolster. I'm going to build myself a little couch to lay down on. So you could put like a throw pillow under your upper back and one under your head. You could put a rolled up blanket underneath, put something underneath your knees, make it really comfy. So here's the way I'm going to do it. I am going to use a long pillow like this. And if you don't have yoga bolsters, couch cushions make great yoga bolsters. And I'm going to put a little block, you could use an extra pillow, right there. So that's a little slope. And then I'm going to use this blanket under my legs. Oh. So we're going to start with the feet together in a butterfly shape, and you can have the feet way out or you can tuck them in closer. That depends on you and your hips and what agreement you guys make together is going to be appropriate.
I guess I'm to mute us, don't I?
No, she's fine.
I think she muted us.
She will, she's there. You see it, sorry.
Whoa. Sometimes an extra blanket under the head is nice, so you guys decide how you want to set yourselves up.
I understand that.
Yeah. Once you're there, and I like to take the first little bit of time to just make sure, yep, I like where everything is, and snuggle my shoulder blades down, and relax my eyebrows and right between them. For some reason I get crinkly there. And then let yourself take a few moments to notice the breath. Let go. Now in my house I can hear the birds singing outside and the small rustling of my furry coworkers. So whatever's happening at your house, you can just be present for the moment. And the next breath that rolls in, to take moments when I settle down onto my yoga mat just to remind myself to be grateful for the things that are present in my life to be noticed. And that I have the incredible privilege to be able to lie down on a yoga mat and notice those things. And we're going to let gravity and time do some magic on our shoulders and on our inner thighs. But if it gets too spicy or you are get uncomfortable, don't be afraid to change. You can straighten your legs out or move your shoulders around, do whatever's right for you. nice big breath. Let go with a big deep sigh. And then you can bring your knees together. Oh, I'm gonna slide, blanket out from under mine. Now I like to do little windshield wipers with my legs, and so if that seems like a good idea for you, you can do that, or you can bring your knees into your chest. Now before I do that, I'm gonna get the stuff that's under my back out from under it. So I'm gonna slide these guys out. Oh. And set them off to the side. And then I get to my favorite thing is to experience this sort of what happens after kind of sensation. So there's my back was over top of the bolster and my shoulders were in a particular arrangement. And so I just, feels good. So the question you have to ask yourself is, does it feel good to me? Did what I did in my pose, does that also feel good? And if the answer to that question is no, then you want to learn from that and do different things next time. But hopefully it's a yes. You can give yourself a little back massage. Oh, good. I'm glad it's a yes. All right, now I'm going to hang onto my right leg, and I'm going to put my left foot on the floor. And I'm putting my foot on the floor sort of like a bridge pose, so that I can really hug this right leg in nice and tight. And I'm going to give this foot a little spin. Now, if you can't hug your leg in nice and tight, don't worry about it. Just hug it however high. It'll get, and even if you can't hold on to it, you can just bring the leg in toward your chest. And then spin your foot the other direction as needed. If you've already started that, you're good. Keep going. And then we're going to point and flex. And I like to spread my toes out and stuff so I get all the spots. All right, now here's the question. You can either hold onto your leg like it is, or if it's available, reach in and hold the sole of your foot, sort of like a half-happy baby. And then we're going to work with the opposite leg. So I'm holding my right leg up close to me, and my left leg, I'm going to stretch all the way out nice and long. And hopefully you did that too, but if it's your opposite, just do the opposite. But just stretch that leg out. So now we've got kind of like a lunge upside down. Now, if you don't feel anything on the front of your left hip, there's nothing interesting happening there, then what you could do is put a pillow or a block underneath your hips. And then when you stretch your left leg out, you'll, because the elevation and your heel dropping to the floor, you'll get a bigger stretch across the front of your hip. Now, I already feel something, so I don't need to do any more. So I'm staying right here, but you can change it up. I'm even going to stretch my left arm over to the side a little bit so I get a little side stretch there. We're going to hold it for about 3 more breaths. Oh, it feels good. All right, so then we're going to let this whole thing get softer with your exhale, and we're going to put a strap around the ball of this right foot. Now, some people will be able to just hold on to their big toe. I don't know if that is you, but if it is, you can just hold on to your big toe, straighten out your leg. But otherwise, grab a strap, put that around the ball of your foot. If your strap is long enough, you can do this really relaxed. You can put this thing under your upper back. It just goes over the shoulder and out the side. And then you can go totally hands-free with this stretch. So I've extended my left leg all the way out, but it's relaxed this time. So before I was really stretching, now it's just relaxed. And I've brought my right leg up to the point where I feel something on the back of my leg. And you can bend the knee a little bit, you can straighten it, you can push your heel away from you to get more into your calf muscles. And a little rotation to the left or the right changes the flavor too. So we're going to stay for a bit, about another minute, just shy of that. But because we're going to stay a bit, you have license to move it around a little. Within the shape, you can do those little nuances. deep breaths, yogis, just a couple more. Now, we're going to take a big inhale, and then we're taking our leg out to the side. Now, what I've done is I've taken the pillow I had under my back, and I've put that right under the edge of my hip, so that when my leg goes out to the side, it's in the exact right spot, so that my inner thigh and I get along later. So, if this stretch feels too intense, you can build up some props underneath your leg to hold on to, or you can bend your knee, right, to take a little bit of the pressure away. So feel that out. What's the right answer? And then if your left hip is kind of rolling off the floor a little bit, it's getting a little lifty, you can engage through your core. So you're kind of, it's almost like you're trying to hug in the sides of your waist. That engages your transverse abdominis muscles, and that'll help stabilize your hip. And it's a great way to add extra bonus core work to your program. Who doesn't like bonus core work, I always say.
And that's the truth.
I'm a huge fan of bonus core work, so we're going to stay for about 45 more seconds here. We're doing good. I like to notice too, like if there's tension that starts to develop in my face, can I release that tension and breathe? Okay, we're going to take a big old breath, and then we're going to come back to the center. Now, because of my space limitations here with my credenza, I'm going to bend my knee to come into this twist. But if you have rooms, you can let your leg go all the way straight, all the way out to the other side. So I'm going to kind of wrap my top leg around my bottom leg and move my shoulders a little bit more level on the ground. When I reach out really long through my right arm, I get a bigger stretch through my right chest muscles, and I'm going to go for that too, because I probably could use it. And so we'll just pause with the twist about the same amount of time.
Last week.
You feel it?
Take nice deep breaths. If you need to make some adjustments or throw some pillows in underneath your knees, you can do that as well. So we're going to take another nice deep breath here. And then we're coming back, yogis. Oh. All right. I don't know how you feel, but I feel kind of great. Now, give yourself a moment to rinse everything out. I'm doing little windshield wipers. You could bring your knees into your chest, or both. And then we're going to just straighten out both legs, and maybe both arms too, and see what happened. Oh, this is my favorite part. So it feels like my right leg is longer. If I checked, it wouldn't be. It's not any longer, but it feels longer. And it feels like my right hip is closer to the ground than my left hip. It's not. If I put my hands here, they're exactly the same, but it feels like. And my right arm feels a little longer than my left arm. I'm feeling pretty good. But I want to do the other side. I don't want to land here all asymmetrical and stuff. So I'm putting my right foot on the floor like a bridge pose, and I'm taking my left leg and bringing it in nice and tight, giving it a hug. And again, however tight you can get it is good. And then spin your left foot in circles. Oh, hopefully you guys are with me on wanting to do the other side.
Yes.
Walk out of here all lopsided and stuff. So we're going to go around, and then after a bit, if you haven't already, spin the other direction. I like to just try to get my whole range of motion in my ankle joint explored. And then point and flex your foot. Spread out and squish the toes together. Try to get a little movement going in the sole of the foot as well. As the ankle. All right, y'all. So we're gonna hug that leg in, and again, you can just stay right there or reach in here and grab that foot and come into this kind of upside down lunge, half happy baby shape. Then we're gonna reach this right leg out really long, really stretch through that leg. So my left hand is holding my left knee or left foot towards the, the ground here, and the right side is trying to lengthen. And again, for me, there is a stretch here. If I've got tight hip flexors, I feel it. But if for you, your hip flexors are a little on the looser side, and for whatever reason you want to spice this thing up, put a blanket or bolster or block or something fluffy under your hips, so your leg drops farther down, and then you'll get that sensation. Oh, 2 more breaths, yogis. We're doing great. And then reach through that right leg. Last breath. Whew. And we're just going to soften the whole thing up, let go of the foot, and put your strap around it. So this time, we're doing the left side. And so again, you can go kind of hands-free if your strap is long enough, which is what I look for in a strap when I buy one. Is it long enough for me to go hands-free? So, in any case, I've got it over my shoulder and coming out the side of my waist here, so my upper back kind of holds it in place. And then you just adjust it if you want your leg a little closer in, just tighten it up, or let it loose. All right, so we're here, and we're gonna breathe and hang out for a bit longer. Again, those little tiny adjustments of like bending the knee or straightening it more, pushing the heel away and pulling the toes down, or a little rotation to the left or right. All of those things change the flavor just a little bit. Like bending the knee is pretty dramatic, but if I push through my heel, ooh, I feel that in my calf muscles, so nice. Calf muscles are intense, so I do that for a few breaths and then I back off and do something else for a bit. It's a great way to explore your pose and explore, like, where are the tight places in your body? Is your left side the same as your right side? If there are slight little differences that make it a unique shape. So we're going to take a nice big breath. We're going to let go with a really big, and this is where we're going to go out to the side. So I'm going to re-angle myself so I've got some room. And I won't kick over a plant or knock the rocks off the knock all my crystals off the table. So we're going out to the side. And again, I've got a little pillow under my thigh, so you could put a little pillow or a block under yours if it feels too spicy. And then engage through the sides of the waist to help hold your hip in place. Get that little bonus core work on the second round. And again, bending the knee a little bit will help give you just like take a little bit of the edge off maybe. You can also just sort of check out, like, should my leg be a little more to the downside, a little more to the upside on the toe lip, on the toe angle, right? You can kind of gently adjust the thigh. I don't have a lot of movement here. It's pretty much where it is, but I can rotate a little bit down or a little bit up, and that does change it. So breathe in. We're going to stay for about 30 more seconds. You're doing fantastic, yogis. Did you need that encouragement? I hope you did. So we're gonna take a really big breath, and then we're bringing this leg all the way across and into the twist. And again, you can do this with the strap, okay, or you can soften the whole thing. Since I did that on my other side, I'm gonna do it on this side too. Just bend the knee and then work my upper back down to the floor so I can stretch out through my arm. And you do your little twist your way, because it's fine to shake it up a bit. We're going to take 3 more big breaths. Alrighty, we're going to come on back to the middle. Does feel great. And then we're going to rinse ourselves out a little bit, and hopefully when you stretch your legs all the way up, feels a tiny bit closer to even across the hips, across the legs. Oh. Now give your back a little massage, however you like to do that. And we're gonna have to sit up to get what we're gonna do next, set up, but we're actually gonna wind up laying back down on our back. So we're gonna basically do upside down cobra pose. So roll to your side when you're ready. Give yourself a little push-up. Oh. And you need something like a blanket for this. So hopefully you've got something like a blanket or an actual blanket somewhere nearby. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. This pose is called mountain stream pose. So you take a blanket and you roll it up so that you've got essentially a blanket that's wide enough for your whole upper back to lay down on, and only as thick as you want it to be. So the bigger you roll your blanket, the more cobra shape you're gonna wind up having, okay? So if you just like a little baby cobra, you're gonna want it to be a tiny blanket. And you can adjust this once we get in. If you realize, oh no, I don't know if I like that, you can unroll it a little bit like this, where it's just rolled up halfway, okay? So you can adjust the roll on your blanket. Now this is gonna go crossways, about at the level of your shoulder blades, and then you're gonna need something for under your legs. So you could use a couple throw pillows, or if you have a yoga bolster nearby, you can use that instead, because that's one pillow for both legs. Okay, so position yourself, and we're gonna hold this pose for a bit. So we're gonna get it comfy. So position yourself so it feels like when you lay down, it's gonna be pretty close to your shoulder blades, and for me it is. And then the thing is you want your head and neck to be able to rest on the floor comfortably. So you're gonna adjust the position until it feels like it's kind of like if I drew a line, well, here's my rib cage, and right there's the bottom of my breastbone. So if I drew a line straight through to the floor, it would intersect the blanket. That's about where you want it. And your head should rest comfortably on the floor. So if it doesn't, you may want to put another blanket underneath your head, okay? Sometimes I need that because I have a short neck. Now I've pulled the bolster up close to my legs so that when I lay over this, I've got a little dip right here, and then there's this little dip where my shoulders land on the floor. So it's sort of like my body is like water rolling over rocks, right? Hence the name mountain stream pose. I felt like I needed to draw that picture for you so you could see it. In any case, this is a cobra pose, right? So if you feel it, your chest is being elevated, your collarbones are being drawn open, and you can emphasize that by taking your arms out like a T, or bringing them up like a cactus, kind of, around your head. And I usually, for me, the cactus is nice. Sometimes I like the T better, so I explore both and see which one I like. And then we're going to try to relax. Now, here's the thing. This is not comfortable. Like, I am not in a lazy boy recliner. This is not what's happening here. It's slightly uncomfortable, but it's not amazingly uncomfortable, right? It's only slightly uncomfortable. And so that's okay as far as I'm concerned, because it's, the more I lay here, the less uncomfortable it is. If you lay on this blanket and it gets more and more and more and more tricky, then unroll your blanket a little bit, make it softer. And so this is a great way to do a kind of passive back bend to open up the muscles that live kind of in the chest here and at the front of the shoulder. And for me, it helps create movement in my upper back. Often the upper back muscles for me get very tight and sticky, and this helps me create more movement. So we'll stay a while and relax into it. And if your low back gets funky, try adjusting the props underneath your legs, whether they're pillows or blankets or whatever you got. It is a back bend, and they do land in the lower back quite often. Now, sometimes for me, I like to turn my head to one side for a little bit and then the other side for a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean like 5 or 6 breaths at maximum. It might even be less than that. But it feels sort of nice to change the neck arrangement. And let those muscles get a little bit of attention too. Back to the middle from the first side, and then in a breath or two I'll change it to the other side. One of the things about the restorative end of the yoga is that we're not in any kind of hurry. We really want to let gravity and time and the props do a lot of the work here for us. If I tried to hold a cobra as long as I'm holding this pose, I would get tired. But this pose, letting this pose kind of passively hold me in the shape, it definitely is a unique and interesting way to approach the practice. Head back to the center, and we've got about 2 more minutes here. Just a wee bit longer. seconds or so here. So notice the breath again if you left it with your awareness. Take about 2 more deep breaths. Now before we leave this pose, we're not there yet. We're going to take another breath, but we're going to come out really slow, okay? So with your exhale, all we're going to do is just bring the feet to the ground so that you can kind of slide out whatever's underneath your legs. Then we're going to roll to the side and prop up on our elbow enough that we can slide out the blanket that's underneath our upper back. Now, you could lay on your side, because that sometimes feels really lovely. I like to roll back onto my back and give myself a little legs up kind of massage. So I start with the sacrum and just rock back and forth on my sacrum. I like to do these little kind of circular shapes a couple times in each direction. And then I bring my knees in a little tighter and get a little higher up my back so I can rock where that blanket was. When I first start, this doesn't feel that good because my back is still going the other direction a little bit. But after I've done the sacrum, usually this feels really nice. So that's why I do it in that order. Now I'm also going to do this little thing with my neck. So I'm going to grab the back of my head with my hands, and I'm just going to lengthen that a little bit and rock. And I'm not really pulling on my head as much as I'm kind of creating like a slight elevation in my skull, and then rocking a little side to side. Oh. And that just gives because my head was resting on the floor, not heavy, but not heavy. It gives my head a little bit of a release, my neck. All right, now put your feet on the floor like you're in a bridge pose. We're going to put the arms straight up in the air so the fingertips point at the ceiling. Palms are pretty much facing each other. And we're going to reach through the arms so high that it starts to lift your upper back off the floor, and then you're going to come back down, let everything settle back in. Reach for the ceilings. Oh, let yourself feel that upper back wanting to lift off the floor, and then come on back down. We're going to do that 3 more times. So you're just reach. See if you can almost get the shoulder blades to lift just by the muscles in your back. Come on back down. Reach. Oh, let everything settle back. Last one. Reach. Oh, very good. Now we're going to roll onto one side. Now, I am going to use my blanket that I had earlier, still rolled up, as a head support. So I'm going to put that right under my head. And then my arms are positioned in the same way they were when I was just laying on my back, where my arms are stretched out about chest height with my fingertips pointing off to the side. So I am laying on my left side. My right arm is on top of my left arm, and they are about chest height. And I've got my knees bent. You can straighten your legs out if you want to. So we're going to take the top arm, so in my case it's my right arm, and we're going to go up over the head like we're drawing a giant arch over the head all the way to chest height on the other side, reaching out to the right, and then bring it straight across. So it's like we're drawing an arch or a rainbow shape over our head with our hand. So we're going over the head, open that up, reach through the arm, and then come on back. Up, stretch through your arms. For me, it especially feels good to stretch when I get to that shoulder height moment, and then come on back. But you can stretch this whole way, especially if it feels okay in your shoulder to do so. Come on back when you get there. We're going to do it twice more. Just all the way around. Nice big stretch. Oh, and come back. All the way around. Nice big stretch. Oh, whoops. Hey, plant. And come back. And then when you get back, just come on back onto your back for a second. Just enough to kind of rinse that arm out. I've got my arm straight up in the air, and I'm just giving it a shake. And that's my right one, because that's the one I was working with here. And then we're going to roll over to the other side and do it again on the other side. So I'm going to adjust my spacing. Lay on my right side. Right arm is on the bottom, left arm is on the top, and they're pretty much parallel with my chest. And then I'm taking this left arm up over my ear all the way around to the left and reaching out through it and then coming straight back across. So going up. Oh, if you've got a tender shoulder, be kind. You may not do the whole range of motion. Going up and over. Oh, and back. And went up and over. Oh, and back. 2 more. Up and over. Oh, and back. Up and over. Oh, and back. All right, yogis. Give yourself a moment to shake that arm out. Oh. And then we're going to come to a seated position. All right. Now, I have a couple of props arrayed around me. I've got my blanket still rolled up. I'm going to use that. I've got some pillows, and I've got a yoga block. So, all of those could come in handy in a little bit. So if you just have some props around you so that they're easy to reach, cool. Now, I am sitting in this butterfly shape again, but you could also do a cross-legged sitting position, or you can just sit with your legs stretched out. So when you get to the sitting position, if you're not there yet, you're not there yet. Just get there when you get there, man. It's gonna be all right. So we're gonna tilt the pelvis forward, right? And then we're gonna wrap around to the side, and then we're gonna tilt the pelvis backwards and wrap around to the side and go forward. So the pelvis is making a circle, and then we're gonna let the chest do those kind of cat-cow shapes along the way. So when we get the pelvis forward, the chest opens. When you get to the side, it's more like a side bend. When you get to the back, it's more like a cat. Okay, so just kind of rolling around, letting your back arch and sway. One yoga teacher that I like online calls these Sufi rolls, but that reminds me of sushi rolls, and then I'm starting to think about food. So when I get to the front, so I don't know, you can call them that though. When I get to the front, I'm going to switch directions, so I'm going to go the other way. Not that I'm opposed to using food metaphors in my yoga practice. Coming around one more time. Push when you get to the front, push your breastbone forward so you really feel that kind of shift in shape. There it is. And then when you come to the back, really press back like a cat. And then we're going to come all the way back around to the front. Oh. All right, so one leg is going to be straight, one leg is going to be bent. You get to decide which one. I'm going to have right leg straight and left leg bent first. So this is usually referred to as the Janu Shirsasana shape, or head, which is Shirs. Janu, which is your knee, head and knee come together pose. So that is the Janu Shirsasana. Asana is a pose. All right, there's your Sanskrit lesson for today. In case you were thinking to yourself, dang it, when am I going to learn some more Sanskrit? Now you did! All right, so we're set up. Now I put the blanket underneath my legs so that it's under the bent knee on my straight leg and also protecting this knee. But you could use a yoga block or a pillow or anything you need to help your knee be safe. Now we're going to fold forward for this pose. So I'm kind of rocking back and forth just to get my sit bones out from underneath me, so that when I fold forward, it feels like my pelvis is doing most of the work. And then you have two choices with your back, okay? You can elevate your heart and lengthen your back so that it's at whatever angle your pelvis is. It's just a natural extension of your spine. And that's one way to do the pose, and that's a really muscular way. So if you can hold onto your foot or hold onto your big toe, then you can energize the leg in the same way. So you press the foot into your hand, elevate the heart, bend your knee slightly, and really engage all the muscles in your thighs. And so this is a really active way to do the pose, or a yang way if we're looking at the kind of Tao symbolism. So we've got a really active, energetic version. The second way to do the pose is more relaxed. It's more of the yin version. So I let the leg relax, I let my back round, and I'm not pushy, just like gravity takes me. And I like both options, but usually one feels better to me on a given day. So right now I'm liking the active version, so I'm gonna go with that, but you can go with the
Which
other
game is
version.
on our foot?
Yeah, it's fun to shake it up, I think. Why do everything the same way? So we're gonna hold this baby for about another 30 seconds. It's about 4 deep breaths in my world. Sometimes 3. So I'm gonna take a really big inhale, hold that air in, lengthen out back through your back, and then we're going to take the whole thing back up with the pelvis, okay? So the pelvis is going to bring us back to neutral. And then you can straighten out your left leg and give both legs a little jiggle. And then feel what happened, because I like these shapes. And we're going to repeat shapes a couple times, but that's our first shape. So I like these shapes when we're right in the middle a lot, because I'm really curious about feeling the differences from left to right, top to bottom, leg to leg. I find that really interesting. There's actually here's another Sanskrit lesson for you. There's a Sanskrit word for that moment when you notice that stuff, right? So in English we call them aha moments, where you're like, oh, I noticed something. Oh, I got something, right? Oh, that clicked in to my awareness. Well, in Sanskrit, the word is spanda, and it means a pulsation or like a beat or rhythm, right? And so we're literally in the pulsation of life when we have those moments where we notice stuff like that. I think that is really cool that there's a word for it, and also this kind of imagery, like we're in some kind of the flow, like we're all a part of this river of humanity or river of awareness, which I think is really. It's a curious concept. It makes me very excited. In any case, we're going to do our other side, yogis. So I've got my left leg straight, and I've bent my right leg, and I've adjusted the props underneath both so that they're settled. And then once we're here, so you're in your opposite Janu Shirsasana shape, then you get to decide, am I going to fold forward in a more passive, subtle way, let everything get relaxed, or am I going to do that energetic thing I did last time? Does it feel okay to hold on to my toe? Do I want to be softer? And again, you might elevate a little bit through your heart to lengthen your spine. You might bend your knee a little bit, really engage the muscles on the top of your thigh. So when we engage and lift the quadriceps, it helps our hamstrings let go a little bit more. So it just softens a little bit through the back of the leg. Those muscles they're in a relationship. They're called antagonists. But it doesn't feel antagonistic to me. Feels sort of symbiotic. But that's the technical term. So we're pausing and breathing for a bit. And sometimes as I hang out here, I get a tiny bit more room. And my pelvis tilts forward a tiny bit more. Sometimes I hang out here and it fights, or I have to back off a little bit. So we're here about another 30 seconds. Take another nice deep breath. Let go and come all the way up on the top of that inhale. Let your spine get kind of nice and long. Straighten out your leg. Give yourself a little zhuzh. And then after I feel my spine starting to shift, I like to do these little windshield wiper, back and forth, washing machine, side to side kind of movements. Little baby cat cows. and various other shapes. All right, so now we're going to go for the wide angle. So this is Upavista Konasana. A kona is an angle and asana is a pose. Upavista is like stretching out wide. Same root as the word vista, right? Where you look out over the horizon. Same idea. So we've got the legs out nice and wide. So we're going to start with a folding down the center. And again, this is one where you can be really super relaxed in your upper back. And we're going to stay with this guy a little bit longer. So if you want to, you can build yourself a little prop mountain. So you have a place to rest your elbows or your forehead. Depending on how tall your mountain is. You can rest yourself in. So this guy we're going to hang out with. Now, if it's too spicy in your legs, put pillows or something underneath your knees to make that a little bit more accommodating. Now don't be afraid to add props as you go along. We're about halfway through here. We're going to stay a wee bit longer. But if you need some extra support, don't be afraid to add it. You can also come out, move around a little bit, and then come back in if you need a little break from it. So we're in our last minute, yogis. Almost there. take 2 more breaths. With the first breath, I'm going to just let myself lengthen out my spine a bit. And then my second breath, I'm going to hold in and come all the way up. Oh. Now, we're going to leave the right leg where it is, but we're going to bend the left knee. And you can give that left leg a little bit of a like, whoo, jiggle. It'll relieve the whole system a bit. And then we're going to bend that knee again, and we're just for 5 breaths, we're going to do a little side bend over this right side. So you can build up a little bit of structure. You can put your hand on the floor. You can take your left arm up over your ear, or you can leave your left arm out of this whole thing. But stretch it out to our side.
Smell oil or something. Might be the mat.
Something on the map smells like perfect.
Take one more big breath. And then we're coming up. Oh, giving ourselves a little rinse. I'm going to straighten out my left leg. I'm going to bend my right leg. I'm going to give that right leg a little jiggle. Oh, feels good. And while my back is changing shapes again, I will adjust. And when it feels like I'm pretty well back to the center, then I'm going to go ahead and bend over my other side. It's feeling pretty good. I'm going to go slow and take 5 deep breaths.
What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing?
Bending sideways, laterally. Raise your right hand over your head.
No, I don't do that.
Oh, okay, just bend.
You don't have to put your arm over your head if you're like, no. If your body is like, no, you can listen to you instead of me.
Hey, I don't think so.
One more big breath. Oh, and then we're gonna come up out of there. Okay, we're done with that shape, you guys. Oh.
That's excellent.
It's a great shape. I like the side bends, but this territory here in the low back can be a little bit sensitive, so you want to be kind. Alrighty. So if you want to, you can do some little cat shapes, or you can do some little washing machine shapes. Kind of rinse your back out. I'm going to come up to all 4s actually and do a bunch of that stuff. And then we're going to do one more pose in the all 4s position before we do our final relaxation with a little guided meditation. So we're going to do a little lunge. It won't be a long one, just a few breaths on each side, but I think it'll be nice to release the front of the hip a little bit just right before we can settle into another position on our back. So I've got some little cat-cows going on my hands and knees. And then when you're ready, you can join me. I'm going to bring my right leg forward first. And I'm just going to keep a block handy to lean forward into. And so you just join me in a lunge when you feel like it's the right time. And again, we're not going to stay for a very long time. But I think sometimes it feels really good to let the front of your hip stretch out right before you lay down on your back again, especially after all those forward bendy shapes.
Great.
Oh. Let's kind of balance stuff out a bit, y'all. So let's take one more breath on this side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put both my hands on the floor, and then I'm going to stretch my right leg back behind me and give it like a little shake in the air. I don't know if you guys have room in your living rooms or in your whatever space you're in, but just work with the space you got. And then just feel the 2 sides and see if there's a difference. For me, the right side feels really yummy, really relaxed. Ugh. So I'm inclined to do the other side, having had a good experience. So I'm bringing my left leg forward, and you can do that when you are ready. And again, so for me, my right hip's a little more sensitive. It's got a little bit more tightness, a little more muscle. Strength on that side as well. I'm stronger on my right side. And so because of that, I don't need to go as far forward to find the stretch. So you just go until you find the stretch, and it might not be exactly the same on both sides. And then we're breathing, and I'm just surfing up against the shit sensation and backing off a little bit. And surfing up against the sensation and backing off a little bit. I like that kind of a in and out for a couple breaths and then hang out for a couple breaths. Again, we're not going to stay forever, but we'll stay for a couple more breaths. Okay, so then you can back yourself up, put both hands on the floor. If you've got room, take that leg back behind you and shake it. All right, yogis, give yourself, oh, that feels so good. One more little setup here. Now, the final part of our class today is a supported shavasana with a guided meditation. And the guided meditation is going to be a little bit of a body scan and a little bit of a breath awareness. So, you want to be comfortable. This is the most important part, because we're going to be here for a good between 10 and 15 minutes. So, what I would recommend, if you are chilly at all, is to cover up with a blanket. If it's nice for you to have your head supported, I know I like to have my head supported, you can put a blanket or whatever you need underneath your head so that you've got a little bit of support there. And then you also want to put support under your legs in such a way that your back relaxes. So you might need a couple of throw pillows or a yoga bolster underneath your legs. Okay. And then the first part of this is like test it out. Get in, jiggle all your props around. Ooh, see, like, is that the right spot? Do I like this other spot better?
Do I need to get you a pillow?
Need a drink of water. Get a drink of water first. We're going to be here a while. Oh. If you have to use the bathroom, pause the video, go pee, come back. We're going to stay a while. So do the thing you need to do so that you can let yourself completely relax. Maybe you have to put on some socks or something like that. So do your things. And then test it out. Make sure that you like the way your head is supported, that that's going to be okay for a while. Anything that feels like a tiny bit uncomfortable right now is going to be a ton more uncomfortable in 10 minutes. So get rid of any wrinkle. Like if there's a wrinkle in the back of your blanket, right? Or if there's a little spot that feels like it's not quite the same as the other side, go ahead and make those adjustments now. You need to put a covering over your eyes so that you'll remain relaxed with your eyes closed. Put a covering over your eyes. Take those last couple of moments now to just gently stretch out the fingers and toes, give everything a little jiggle. Make sure you like the way everything is settled.
Smells like a goop.
There's a weird smell in your house, you might need to go investigate. Yes. Pause for a second, go get that done, come back.
Something strange.
Because we're going to try to let our mind stay with our body for a little bit longer. So first, with your eyes closed, to the best of your ability anyway, feel all of the places where your body touches the floor or the props. Right? So notice the heaviness in your heels, and the parts of the back of your leg that touch the ground. Notice the pelvis on the floor and the part where your low back gently arches away. And then the part where your back comes back into contact with the floor. Notice the shoulders and the back of your head. maybe the backs of the arms. And now notice all of the places where your body touches the floor simultaneously and evenly. Now, I'm going to name a lot of different body parts, and all you have to do is notice that body part and pay attention. You don't have to move any of the parts that I mentioned. Just become aware of it and think about it in your mind. So notice your right hand thumb, your index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. Notice the palm of your right hand, the back of your hand, and your wrist. Feel your right lower arm, your elbow, your right upper arm, the right shoulder. Feel the right side of your waist, your right hip, right thigh, your knee, your lower leg. Feel your right heel and the sole of your foot. Feel your right ankle and the top of your foot. Notice your right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and your little toe. And now become aware of your whole right side together. Feel your whole right side. Bring your awareness to your left thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. Feel your left palm, the back of your hand, your wrist, the left lower arm, the elbow, your upper arm, left shoulder, side of the waist, left hip, left thigh, left knee, your lower leg, feel your heel and the sole of your foot. Feel your ankle and the top of your foot. Noticing your toes now, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and the pinky toe. Now notice your whole left side together. Feel your whole left side. Become aware of the crown of your head. Feel the crown of the head. Now become aware of your forehead, right eyebrow, your left eyebrow, and the space right between your eyebrows. Become aware of your right eye, your left eye. Notice your right ear, your left ear, right cheekbone, left cheekbone. Become aware of your nose and the very tip of your nose. Upper lip, lower lip, the jaw, the chin. Notice your throat, your right collarbone, and your left collarbone. Right chest muscles, left chest muscles. Notice the heart center right between the chest muscles. Feel your abdomen, and notice your navel center right in the center. Feel the right thigh and the left thigh. Right kneecap, left kneecap. Right shin, left shin. Right ankle, left ankle. Feel the top of your foot, right side. Top of the foot, left side. Feel your right toes and your left toes. Now notice your whole front of your body together. Feel the whole front of your body. Become aware of the sole of your right foot, the sole of your left foot. Feel your right heel, your left heel. Right calf muscles, left calf muscles. Back of your right knee, back of your left knee. Right buttock, left buttock. Feel your back. Feel your right shoulder blade, left shoulder blade. Feel the back of your head. Now feel your whole back body together. Feel the whole back side of your body. Now feel your whole body together. And become aware that your body is breathing. Imagine that the breath is coming from a long distance away and coming in through the nostrils and then extending back out a long distance away. Imagine one line of breath coming to the right nostril and extending away. another line of breath coming to the left nostril. And extending away. Picture both of those lines of breath coming to the nostrils. And extending away. Now imagine those two lines of breath coming in through the nostrils and touching right at the third eye center. And then extending back out. Breath coming from a distance, touching the third eye center, and extending back out. Yogis, take a breath so deep, it comes from the farthest distance you can imagine. Pitching right at that third eye center at the top of the inhale. And then exhale out a big sigh. You can gently open your eyes and start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Stretch out your hands and feet. Give your wrist and ankles a little movement. When you're ready, you can stretch out your whole body. And eventually, roll onto your side. Don't have to be in a rush. In fact, if you want to just lay on your floor for a while, who am I to stop you?
You should do it.
But if you want to join me, so we can say Namaste to each other and end with an Om, if that's okay with you guys. You can hang out with the Om or you can participate in the Om. I highly recommend the participation. Let's take a nice big breath. Om.